All right, let's get into this. So incident management, what does that mean? RSMA. We're going to execute a plan. We need to have a plan. We need to coordinate with our subject matter experts. You might even want to reach out to people outside the organization or third party organizations to help you to fine tune. This is what a lot of organizations do, by the way. They'll use things like threat detection reports that come from places like, who has good ones? Has one. Splunk has one. A lot of your major cybersecurity firms and organizations do these really good threat detection and sometimes incident management type. They put stuff out there to pull in new customers, and a lot of times organizations will reach out to them to get some idea of what kinds of incidents might be affecting their industry. So that's what the very first bullet is talking about: execute plan. When you're executing that, you're going to coordinate with relevant third parties when an incident is declared. So they'll use third-party organizations that already deal with this on a regular basis. Reports. So what is that? We're going to validate and categorize incoming incident reports. Not every security incident that happens is the same. Like they're not all equal. There's some that are way more critical than others. So a triage means, what they mean here is, how we respond is based off of what is the impact to organization if something does happen. So these are all things the organization needs to think about and prepare for before they happen. Prioritization is a part of that plan and a part of that triage. We got to categorize each incident that happens. We're thinking about what we're going to do if it does happen, and then and it's all based off of the impact to organization. And then escalation. If an incident, sometimes, like I'll give you a specific example of an escalation. If you have a malware on your network, and it starts off on one system, and then it trickles to like 100 systems, you might have to have a different level of response from one to another. Like you might have to escalate. You need to match the response to what is actually occurring, and that's escalation in a nutshell. So incident management is having all of these things in play, thinking about all this stuff. Your organization should have a plan on all these things before it happens, before any of this occurs. RSMA, executing the incident response. So this is where you're coming up with a plan. So we're breaking each one of these parts of the incident management down. Executing incident response plan. We need, first of all, a method of detection. And this is usually done with like a SIEM or a security incident event manager. You might use an IPS incident help me out here, guys, prevention system, or incident detection system, IDS, or an IPS. You might even just have your firewall. Any kind of, usually it comes from logs. I tell you that much. Like, it's not whatever kind of system you have, it's going to come from logs. So that's why in the detect that we talked about last week, logs are super important to cybersecurity. Very, very important. And then once you have an incident, if it is an incident, you've got to assign that incident someone to coordinate the response. An incident lead is assigned to coordinate the response effort. A lot of times what organizations will have is a team that comes together if there is an incident. So whatever the kind of incident, depends on what kind of incident it is. Not everything requires a team, but if it's a huge incident, you'll have like a leader that comes in and then starts to pull everybody together to actually respond to that particular incident. These are all things that you have to have, that the organization needs to plan for, like having an incident response team, having a method of detection, right? If you don't have a method of detection, you won't even know what's out there. You won't even know what's happening. If you don't have a plan going forward to deal with the things you detect, then that is also a problem. So that goes into the incident response plan. Those are the main things. Executing the incident response plan are all these things here you see on the screen.